Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video, and in today's video I'm going to be predicting the Inoue versus Fulton Jr. fight. If you are new around here then you have to subscribe, please do so, like the video if you need like video, and let's get straight into it. So, going into this fight, Inoue is 24-0 with 21 KOs, and Fulton Jr. is 21-0 with 8 KOs. This fight is for the WBC and WBO World Super Bantamweight titles. Inoue's last fight was a win via KO in round 11 versus Butler, and Fulton Jr.'s last fight was a win via unanimous decision versus Roman. This is in Inoue's home country of Japan. Of course, Fulton Jr., all credit to him coming over to put his undisputed titles on the line in Inoue's hometown, well, maybe not hometown, but home country, and still being the away fighter, even though he is the A side theoretically, because of course it is his titles, and so all credit to him for doing that. And Inoue, of course, has moved up in weight for this fight, and in general I'm very excited for this fight. This week of boxing is going to be a great week of boxing, hopefully, and just kicking it off with a great fight here, and one that I'm probably the most excited for, and definitely could be possibilities for fight of the year contender. And if it lives up to the hype of what everybody's given it, not just myself, everybody's been given it, then it definitely could. Also on this card is Ramirez versus Shimizu for the WBO World Featherweight title, in which I think Ramirez will win via TKO in round 6. I think, to be completely honest, Top Rank are struggling to find opponents for Ramirez. I think there's a few fighters that Top Rank have that they struggle to find opponents for, and I think Ramirez is one of them. Of course, he is a champion, a WBO champion, and it's happened quite quickly, so he's been moving through the ranks quite quickly, and I think he's still at that point, even though he is a WBO champion, because it's not one of the major bodies realistically. He's at that point where there's not really too much to gain from fighting him if you are a world champion, and so I think it's meaning that unless there's going to be some like mandatory defenses or mandatory challenges that has to be made, then they're going to struggle to find opponents for him, to be completely fair. And Shimizu, I don't think he's going to be much of a difficult task. Of course, Ramirez can't overlook him, but I believe he's 37 and he's not really got much to show for himself. He's got a loss against a lesser opponent recently, and I mean, of course, he's in his home country as well, but I think for Ramirez this will be a relatively convincing victory. Moving back on to the Inoue Fulton Jr. fight, let's speak about the fighters. So Inoue, pound for pound, one of the best. I think if he beats Fulton Jr. here, then he has all the right to be called pound for pound the best fighter in the world, and that's not even me saying that just to hype up the fight more. That I think that is all true, and all credit to Inoue, especially if he wins this one convincingly as well. He outboxes pretty much all of his opponents. He has immense amount of power. Of course, there's talks about him if that's going to carry moving up in weight, but to be completely honest, I don't think it's not going to carry, because I think they're going to move up in weight smartly and use his weight smartly, and not just kind of put weight on in bad ways. I think it's going to be smart, and I think that power's going to go with him. He punches through you. He's fast. He's got great reflexes. He's pretty much almost a complete fighter. He's elusive, sets traps, explosive, punishing, devastating, strong-minded, strategic, effective, gets himself up and close and just kind of exposes any weaknesses. He's got great body work, and overall, like I said, pretty much to an extent a complete fighter. There's been little blemishes in pretty much just one fight against Inoue that he looked maybe a little bit out of it, but everybody has bad fights, and other than that, he's been so dominant, so destructive, and of course people are going to be writing him as the favourite for this fight, and all credit to them, because he is, of course, the undisputed champion. He is the guy in the bantamweight division, the guy to beat, the guy that nobody can beat, and that's why he's moving up in the division anyway, because he wants these tough challenges and he wants a new test, and he can't really get any left at bantamweight because he's pretty much beaten them all. So that's why he's here, and that's why it's going to be an amazing fight. I think this could definitely be quite a tactical affair. I don't think it's going to be a war. I think they're both smart enough to know to not go into a war, and to be completely fair, if it did, I would probably have to back Inoue. But I think if it goes to a more technical affair, Fulton Jr. has a little bit more of a chance, but I still think Inoue is more than tactical and smart enough and, like I said, sets them traps enough to be able to go into a tactical fight anyway, and I think it will probably end up like that. And I think there is this one kind of thought and reasoning, as a lot of people have been given, as to why Inoue will win, and that is down to his body work. I think everybody knows he has great body work, and people have seen possible weaknesses with Fulton Jr. to the body, and so they are thinking that Inoue's best chance is him using that, so he's going to have to utilise that. Inoue, the kind of negatives, I suppose, he hasn't really fought somebody like Fulton Jr., quite a defensive, slick fighter like Fulton Jr. He's been hurt before, once, like I said, against Inoue. I don't know if Fulton has that kind of power, but I suppose if you can catch anybody flush with his movements, then there's definitely a possibility for Inoue a slight chance that he could get hurt. He can be a little bit defensively weak when he is in a war, but like I said, I don't think it's going to be a war, so I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. I think he can get frustrated a little bit, and does drop his hands at times. It means he can occasionally get caught, but it's very rare and doesn't happen very often. And I suppose Fulton Jr. has that chance to make him frustrated if he is just kind of using his movement and his footwork and his head movement and his his countering ability to kind of slip and then just throw his own combinations and just keep doing that over and over again. But it will have to be a perfect performance, I think, for Fulton Jr. And to be completely honest, Inoue, whoever has the better performance, of course, is going to win, and that's how it works. And neither of them can have an off night and can afford to have an off night, because then they'll get punished straight away. That's how good they both are. They'll punish any weaknesses that I show. Fulton Jr. as a fighter, I've talked about him a little bit, but of course he's slick, very fast, a bit more of a defensive kind of fighter. He's precise and naturally bigger, anticipates his opponent well. He's got great counters, always finds openings, likes to keep in the centre. He's elusive as well. He has great in-close combinations, great footwork, great athleticism. He can be a front or back foot fighter. Establishes his jab very well. He controls the tempo and has a high boxing IQ. I think it will be difficult for him to control the tempo against Inoue. I don't think Inoue will let that happen. But if there is a possibility and if there is a chance, then you never know. But I think it would take a lot to be able to control the tempo against somebody like Inoue. So I don't know if that's even worth doing. But I think on the back foot, possibly I would say that Fulton Jr., there's a slight chance that he could fight better off the back foot than what Inoue can. But either way, Inoue's still amazing off the back foot as well. So it's literally just the slightest of margins between the two fighters here, and that's what makes it such a good fight. And I think Fulton Jr. is going to have to, like I said, be perfect and use them counters and be very slick and use that speed and just try and get them angles and just try and not do too much. And if Inoue possibilities, he might overcommit a little bit at times, but Fulton Jr. will have to capitalise on that, and I feel like he can do that, and feel like he might do that, and use his naturally bigger kind of frame to be able to maybe not bully him. I would not like to see him bully him, to be fair. Just go off the back foot and just try and be slick. I just not use the frame at all, to be completely honest. Fulton Jr.'s negatives, he's not crazy powerful, so like I said, it will take a lot for him to be able to stop something like Inoue, I think. He can be open to the body as well, that's what we mentioned. Inoue can punish that. He can look tired and give away a round or two, possibly. He's done it before, but he fights at quite a high volume, or can fight at quite a high volume when he wants to, so it is understandable when he does do that. They just get a little bit tired in the later rounds, but I don't know if Inoue's going to allow him to get tired and going to be able to just live with him being tired. If you can't give away a round or two against Inoue, in my opinion. Inoue, of course, is the favourite for this fight. Inoue is. I think that Inoue will win via TKO in round 8. To be completely honest, it's, like I said, going to be a very cagey affair, especially early on, and then I think Inoue will find success, find what works, and Fulton Jr. will just struggle more and more, and eventually just be too much, and Inoue will just land one big shot, and then he'll get it over with, or a couple big shots, and then he'll get it over with. But I think Fulton Jr., if he is going to win, it could definitely be early on. I don't think if it goes to a decision that Fulton Jr. would win, because I think this will be a very close fight, and I don't think that, like I said, if it goes to a decision, Fulton Jr. will win, but I think Fulton Jr., if he is going to win, would probably do it in the earlier rounds, and possibly could in the earlier rounds. Not completely writing him off. I don't think you can completely write off any opponent in boxing, especially in a fight as close as this. So, but I am going to go with an Inoue win via TKO in round 8. And then who could go on to next? I think realistically, there's not loads more options for him in bantamweight, super bantamweight, that are big fights for him. Of course, Tapires is the other champion in the super bantamweight division, so that's an option there. Goodman is a upcoming super bantamweight and possibly might be a world champion come the time of him looking to fight again, so could be another option. Or Santiago is another possibility if he beats Donaire and then becomes a champion, and if Inoue's going back down to bantamweight, but we'll have to see how good he performs in this and see. And of course, there's also, if it's so close, there's also a possibility of the rematch as well. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like if you didn't, like this, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.